I hope you have learned the general rule of thumb for you to determine the level of learning in the previous video. So in this video, we'll be talking into details how are we going to write a course learning outcome. So we are going to specify how to write the action verbs, the standards, and the condition. In this video, I will be sharing with you the components of the CLO. We are going to detail the three components of CLO, which is the action verb, the standard, and the condition. So a quick recap of what we have learned in the past. We know that there are three components in each of the CLO statement, which is verbs, condition, and standard. We know that the verbs describe the type of behavior that we want the students to display, and we will use Bloom taxonomy to refer to the verbs. And then we will identify the condition where we want the behavior under which condition or which context the behavior is to occur, and also the standard, which is a criteria or acceptable level of performance. Yeah. So after going through this video presentation, you'll be able to explain the components in the CLO statement and also identify the key issue when writing a CLO statement. Okay, the first thing, when you're going to write your CLO, the first thing you need to think of is the action verb. Yeah, which action verbs to use. So you need to use an action verb to denote the level of learning which is expected. So remember, in the previous video, we have discussed about the level of learning. Like for example, you have C1, remember, until C6, create. So which level of learning that you want the students to demonstrate to you. So you have to use the action verb accordingly. You have C1 until C6 for connective, A1 until A5 for affective, and P1 until P7 for psychomotor. Okay, so which action verb to use, you have to refer accordingly to the Bloom taxonomy. So when you want to write the verbs at time, make sure that you follow the SMART principle, which is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, within a time frame, and then most importantly is observable. Okay, make sure you fulfill or follow the SMART principle. There are many templates out there to guide you on which action verb to use. But the one that developed by UITM, I would say that would be the one of the best template to be used so far. I've included a template in the Flexlet. You can download and keep your copy, okay? And then for your future reference. So let me show you how the action verb template can actually help you. Yeah. So if you download the template, it will look something like this. So this template actually helps a lot of academics when they want to design which templates, which action verbs to use. So by clicking on this, it will help you to identify each of the level of learning from C1 until C6. Then you will have A1 until A5, P1 until P7. Okay, for example, you are preparing for a year 1 course, Principle of Management. Then you decided that you think you want to measure at the C2 level. By setting at the C2, then you can see all the action verb has been proposed to you. Like for example, you can use account, convert, alter, defense, change, clarify, describe. There are so many that you can use accordingly that will help you to measure at the C2 level. There are another way you can use the template where you can key in the keyword yourself. For example, I want to prepare a CLO statement starting with an action verb called explain. Yeah, I want the students to explain about the marketing principle, marketing mix perhaps. Then I want to know explain is measured at which level of learning. So you just type in explain over here and click enter. It will show it to you. Explain can be measured at C2, C5, or C6 accordingly. Yeah, then you can use it for the appropriate level. If you want to measure for effective, explain can be used as well, which can be measured at A3 and A4, and you can measure it at psychomotor as well for P2. Okay, so this is how powerful is this Bloom taxonomy indicator developed by UITM. So you can download this template, which I already uploaded to Flexen, and use it. Yeah, use it when you want to prepare your CLO statement or you want to prepare your exam questions that time. Yeah, feel free to use this template or indicators to help you identify the right action verbs to be used. Okay, so when we're coming back to our slide, we have covered the action verb. The next thing that we want to see is Some of the key things that you need to avoid when using this word is that, remember, avoid all these words like understand, appreciate, know, learn, aware, familiar, because these words are not as specific and then very difficult to measure, right? For example, how you measure someone understanding level. Yeah, okay. So try to avoid all those words, yeah, that is not so specific and not so measurable. Okay, the next thing after we have done with the action verb, the next thing we look into is a condition. Yeah, condition. So condition tells you what are the conditions will the learner perform the behavior. So basically, condition answer this question: under which condition will the learner perform the behavior? What will you give the learner to use in order to perform the behavior? What will be the environment that you will set for the learner in order to perform the behavior? So these are the common questions that you need to answer in order to put in the condition. Yeah. So usually condition address time, place, resources, and circumstances. For example, you might want the students to demonstrate something in the daylight, or they are able to perform diving in a 10 feet water, or they are able to calculate mean using a calculator, or they will be able to drive a motorcycle while being monitored, something like this. So you can see that those are conditions that you put in to your original CLO, yeah, to indicate the um, the tool that you want the learners to use, or the environment that you want the learner to perform the particular behavior. So we can look at the examples over here. Calculate the mean, you only have the verbs, which is calculate. So we know that by having just one component, it will not make the learning outcome good, right? So in order for you to prepare a good learning outcome, you must have at least two components: verbs plus condition, or verbs plus standard. So in this case, if you want to go for verb plus condition, V plus C, you can modify the existing course learning outcome, yeah, into something like this. Calculate mean using Microsoft Excel, or calculate mean using a scientific calculator. That will be much more better than just having it calculate the mean. Similarly, you may ask the students to prepare a consolidated financial statements. Yeah, okay. So it can be improved by just adding in like prepare consolidated financial statement for individual company statement. So this is a condition you give to the students. You want the students to perform this behavior, able to prepare consolidated financial statement. Under what condition? For individual company. You want the students to be able to calculate mean. Using what tool? Using Microsoft Excel. Okay, so this is the two things that you want to put in. Yeah. Okay, so remember, when you want to add in the condition at time, try to answer these two simple questions. What will you give the learner to use? A calculator? What will be the environment? Individual, company, statement, something like that. Okay, to add in a condition to make your CLO a better one. You can also consider the standard. Yeah, the standard. Standard refers to the criteria that you'll be used to evaluate the performance. Yeah, acceptable level of performance. We call it as a standard. Like for example, you want the students to be able to dive into 10 feet water. Yeah, dive into 10 feet water. So diving is one of your action verb. Yeah, 10 feet water is the condition. What is the standard? Within 10 minutes. Yeah, within 10 minutes. You want the students will be able to prepare the consolidated financial statement for individual company. What standard? In compliance with Malaysian Finance Reporting Standard. Something like that. Okay, you can put in the standard. So this is a comparison of how the CLO can be improved from only one verbs to three components all appear together. So earlier on we learned about this. Calculate mean. Improve. Calculate mean using Microsoft Excel. Word plus condition. So okay. Then word plus condition plus standard. Calculate mean using Microsoft Excel to solve a business problem. So this will be the best learning outcome that you can have. This is an acceptable version. This is definitely not accepted. Similarly, prepare consolidate financial statement. Improve into prepare consolidate financial statement for individual company. Okay. Then the best one will be prepare consolidate financial statement under international GAAP. This is a standard for accounting for individual company statement, for example. So this will be the best learning outcome that you can develop. This is an acceptable one, and this is something not acceptable. Okay, so basically this shows you how a learning outcome can be improved from only one component to become 3 components. Okay. Okay, so the overall idea is that we should have at least 2 components in every learning outcomes that we have designed. Yeah, the best is to have 3, but not necessary to be the case for all the time. The minimum that we must have is at least 2 components. Okay, so the tips of writing learning outcome is it's not compulsory for you to have all the 3 components together, but must have at least V plus C or V plus F. S, yeah. Then the second thing is that can we have more than one action verbs? Like for example, state and explain. Okay, state and explain. Can we have 2 action verbs over here? State and explain. 2 action verbs over here. The answer is yes, you can have 2 action verbs, but make sure you measure it. Yeah, you measure that. Like for example, you have a statement that has 2 verbs in the same domain, state and explain. Yeah, then use the highest level taxonomy only. Explain. Okay. So in case you want to have 2 action verbs, but the 2 action verbs are in the same domain level. So state and explain, they could be in the C2 level, yeah, C2 level. So in this case, we would advise that use a higher level of taxonomy. State could be C1 and state explain is C2. So in this case, you have C1 and C2 both in the same connective domain. So the advice to you is that even though 2 action verb is allowable, but for this case, it will advise that you make it simple, just remain the highest level, which is explain the basic principle will do, rather than keeping the 2 action verbs together. But in case you have 2 action verbs in different domain, for example, explain and perform, okay? So explain, you could measure it at a cognitive level. Perform, it could be at the psychomotor level, okay? So you can see that you have 2 different domains over here. The advice is you can maintain your 2 words in a different domain, but make sure that you have measurable. Means that you have 2 different assessment for both outcome, yeah, for the explain and for the perform, because you measure it at a different domain level. One is in the cognitive and one is the psychomotor. So the advice is that if you want to have 2 action verbs, make sure that the 2 action verbs are in 2 different domains. Then it's only meaningful. Yeah, if the 2 action verbs are both in the same domain, then better you just keep it with the one with the highest level of taxonomy. Okay, so this is the advice and general rule of thumb for everyone when you try to develop your CLO. Also, to avoid using non-observable or non-measurable CLO, such as you mentioned that understand the theory X, know how to write an effective learning outcome, appreciate. Basically, it's very difficult to measure. What's mean by appreciate? Yeah, how to measure it? It's quite difficult. So try to avoid all those non-observable or non-measurable CLO. And you can also avoid a vague CLO or the CLO that's too broad or general. For example, just say use a computer. Send you the computer for what? Add in the condition, yeah, or add in the standard. Use a computer to perform, or use a computer to install a software for company use. For example, like this. Then it will be better rather than just saying use a computer, yeah, or say design a research for what? Design a research to solve a business problem. Something like that would be more meaningful, yeah. So avoid using too broad or too general. So as long as basically you have 2 components with you, then basically you can overcome this issue already. Okay, so that's assignment prepared for you to improve your understanding on this course learning outcome. So basically this assignment is to help you to identify the component and also able to list them down, yeah, the level. So this one example that I showed to you. For example, the student learning outcome is list all the elements in the periodic table, yeah. So the action verb over here is list, yeah, and the condition is the periodic tables, yeah, elements in the periodic table. Standard not available over here. So your job is to identify what are the action verb, what are the condition, and what are the standard, and what are the level as well to measure. So you might have different answer, yeah? You might have different answer. For example, list could be appear at C1 or C2, for example. Then you just mention the one that you want to measure will do. Yeah, mention one level will do. Okay? So this is something that you need to do as well, yeah, for your assignment. There are a few questions covering different domain, psychomotor, affective as well. And you can try to practice and see whether you can identify the action verb, the condition, and the standard accordingly. But not necessarily all questions will have all the three components together. Some will have two, like for example, this example over here. Some may have three. Yep. So identify accordingly and put in your answer. Okay. Submit your assignments to me, then I will feedback to you. Yeah, whether you have get it correct. Okay. So this is our promise, right? So get the assignment done to make sure that you have learned what you need to learn under this section, this video. Yeah, the component for course learning outcome. Okay, so basically this video will be the last video for the module writing learning outcome. So the next module we will be talking about constructive alignment. Yeah, so I hope that you complete all the videos for this module, then only you move on to the next module, because the next module required a prerequisite understanding of this module. Then only you will understand the next module, constructive alignment, in a more better way. Okay, so I will be waiting you in the next module, constructive alignment. Remember to clear all your assignment 1 and assignment 2 before you come to the next module. Okay, see you in the next module. Bye.